A few years ago, I decided to have a Christmas party with some of my friends. It was being held at a male friend from work's apartment. There were about 5 or 6 of us in total. There was a mix of both genders. We planned on cooking together. We were gonna have shabu shabu. Hi, Jay here. Shabu shabu is a Japanese hot pot dish. It mainly consists of thinly sliced meat and vegetables cooked in boiling stock water and served with various dipping sauces, some spicy, salty, etc. It's very nice. It's ideal for cold nights. Shabu shabu means swish swish, kind of like an onomatopoeia word. An onomatopoeia word for the actions you use when cooking it. It's the kind of thing you would eat together at a party or at a restaurant and have conversations, that kind of stuff. Anyways, back to the story. We had fun making dinner and, of course, eating it. We drank alcohol and ended the meal with some cake that the host had prepared for the party. The hour was growing late by the time we'd finished eating, but the vibes were still going strong. After a little while, we started to slow down. I think all that food and booze caught up with us, so perhaps with the intention to get the party back into the swing of things, one of my friends suggested that we tell ghost stories. I can't remember how it came about, but I think that telling ghost stories at Christmas is a Western tradition or something, so we wanted to give it a shot. The host of the party was a guy, and he kind of subtly suggested that we do something else instead. However, one of the girls, who was getting very excited at the idea of hearing ghost stories, persisted. The host interrupted her as she began her story by saying, "Please, can you not? Please don't tell ghost stories in here." I just thought to myself, whoa, he doesn't like scary stuff then, hey? The girl who wanted to tell the story so badly replied with, "Oh, don't worry, it's not that scary, it's just kind of funny." And then she went right on back to telling her story. As soon as she started telling her story, a large plastic bottle on the kitchen table at the other side of the room cracked. You know what I mean? It was like it was dented or someone had hit it. It then tumbled to the floor. No one touched it. No one was even near it. It was the strangest thing. We all shut up instantly when we heard that, and then the host said, "See, that's why I didn't want you to tell ghost stories here." He said it so nonchalantly. He was unfazed. "Sorry, I should have maybe mentioned this to you before, but I didn't think we had any plans to get spooky tonight. This is an accident property. A home with a history." "What do you mean?" someone asked. "Well, they say that this place is haunted, and I'm inclined to believe that. Here, look at this," he said as he pushed his wardrobe to the side to reveal some flooring panels that didn't match the others. I didn't know what he was hinting at, but perhaps something had happened in that spot. So now we were all ears. We wanted to know more about what it was like living in a haunted property. Usually the spirit doesn't bother me, but if I watch a horror film or anything spooky, that's when things go wrong. That's how I found out what I needed to avoid. I once left a show on about a psychic medium attempting to speak to ghosts last summer. After a couple of minutes, my hair started to smell as if it was burning. He was saying it all so matter-of-factly. I think that this place is probably haunted by the spirit of a woman. I think that she gets jealous when I'm looking at other ghosts. But you know what? She's never hurt anyone. And I've had dates come back with me, and they've all been totally fine. It's just the strangest thing, right? I really didn't know what to say. I mean, was this guy joking or being serious? I started to feel as if something was off about that dude, and the hushed silence that fell upon the room told me that the others were probably feeling the same. During the night's drinking and partying, we had all decided to stay at his, and there was no going back now. It was too late. We were all stuck there until morning came. The question was, were we stuck with a madman or an actual ghost? Some of the girls were really freaked out and insisted that we watched comedy movies and clips on YouTube until the sun came up. All of us at one point or another must have been telling ourselves, don't think about anything scary, or else something might happen. Well, thankfully nothing did, but either way, it was an unforgettable Christmas, alright. This happened in my hometown, which is in the countryside. I have since moved away, and I cannot say that I miss it if I'm being honest. Our family had this old-fashioned storehouse-like building next to our house. Naturally, our family used it for storage. We would put Christmas decorations in there, as well as the tree, offcuts of carpet, old cans of paints, and my bikes, stuff like that. One cold December morning, my dad asked me to go and grab the box of Christmas decorations. It was in our back garden. So I went out of the kitchen door, the back door, down this slope that ran beside the garden, and then I walked up to the storehouse. I had always found the storehouse a bit creepy, even during the day. There weren't any windows, so it didn't let in any natural light. There was something different about the storehouse that morning. Something about it gave me a very bad feeling. It felt like I shouldn't be there, like my gut was telling me that I wasn't alone or something. I was pretty young, so I didn't understand those feelings. I just knew that I had to come back with the decorations or Dad wouldn't be happy. I was considering all this while stood by the door. I put the key in to unlock it, but when I turned it, I realized that the door wasn't locked. It was probably me who used the storehouse last, as that was where I was told to put my bike. I thought, oh man, did I forget to lock the door? If I did, I got away with it. My dad must have not noticed. I was a bit worried that my bike wouldn't be in there when I opened the door, but there it was. I stood in the entrance looking in, using the natural light to try and locate the decorations. I saw the Christmas tree. I knew that I would probably be asked to get that next, so it caught my eye. Something looked off though. I looked just to the side of the tree. It was partially covered by a black bin bag. Just off to the side, there was something pink. I stared at it a little longer and realized that it looked like skin. It looked to me like someone's hand. I was so confused, but I followed the line of it upwards, and then I got the shock of my life. I met eyes with someone. There was someone hiding in the storehouse. I saw his eyes in the dark staring right at me. I should have listened to my gut, and I should have never gone in there, but that's hindsight for you. The guy in the storehouse just froze in place and stared at me. It was so scary that I also couldn't move. Then the stranger in the storehouse spoke. He said in a rough voice, "Hey kid, come here." I saw more of his face as he emerged from behind the tree. He looked incredibly dirty, and he had a graying beard. That's about all I could take. I ran. I screamed for my dad as I ran, and my dad came rushing downstairs, and I blubbered about what I had just seen, and he went charging out of the kitchen door down to the storehouse. And when he got there, the creepy guy was already gone. He must have hopped the fence the second I ran off screaming. We did find some food wrappings, and he had arranged some of the bags of clothes we had in there to make a makeshift bed. We don't know how long he had been in there, but it must have been more than a day or two. I got a big telling off for leaving the storehouse unlocked, and we were a lot more security conscious after that day. To this day, I get a bit freaked out when I have to go into dark places by myself, like attics, basements, and garages. It was a creepy Christmas memory for our family, but thankfully, one we can laugh about a little these days. This happened when I was a child. We lived out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. Our family home was surrounded by rice paddies and fields. This was in stark contrast to where my mother's side of the family came from. My mum, auntie and grandparents all grew up in a pretty lively town. I mean, it wasn't anything like Tokyo or Osaka, but people from the big cities would probably laugh at me for even saying that it was a lively town. But anyways, that lively town had a convenience store and a small shopping street. There were so many modern looking shops and stores there, I always looked forward to visiting my mum's side of the family. However, over the course of just a few years, the age of the buildings was becoming more and more noticeable. Some of the shops had their shutters down, and that lively little shopping street began to look less and less lively. It was a bit of a shame. For the Christmas period one year, there was some Christmas lights. They were strung up high all across the streets. It was kind of like a mini Illumination event. There were lights all over the park and throughout the streets. It was so pretty and nice. I heard that families from the town donated their old Christmas trees and decorations. There were pop-up stalls selling hot drinks and sweet snacks. A small but warm Christmas event breathed life into that lonely area. Each year I begged my parents to take me there. I was lucky because my grandmother liked the Illuminations, so we got to go often. She loved taking lots of photos, and it quickly became a Christmas time tradition for our family. However, one year, that all abruptly came to an end. There were no more Illumination events in that town. I asked my parents why it was all gone, but they didn't answer me. To be honest, they might not have known the reason why. I thought that it could have been a one-off cancellation, but when December rolled around the following year, I heard that the event was cancelled again. I stopped asking about it after that year, and my family stopped mentioning it. I am now an adult, and I was recently reminded of that little Christmas tradition that we had. So when I went home to see my parents for the holidays, I decided to ask them if they knew why the event got cancelled. When I casually brought it up in conversation, my mother told me the reason why we never went back. She said, "It was cancelled because someone was found hanging by their neck. The Christmas lights were used as a makeshift noose." That really shocked me. Apparently it couldn't be determined if the person did that to themselves or if it was done by a third party. Either way, Christmas never came back to that lonely little area again, and that's sad. I lost my husband a year ago in a road accident. I'm a single mother, living with my son who is in the second year of primary school. I don't come from a wealthy family, and we really struggle to make ends meet. I am working though. I have a part-time job. Early this December, my son said to me, "I'm gonna ask Santa to give me a Nintendo Switch for Christmas." He was so enthusiastic about Christmas. I could say little more than, "Oh really? Well, isn't that great?" I didn't really know what a Nintendo Switch was or how much it cost, so it wasn't until a little later on that I found out that it would be incredibly difficult to get my son that for Christmas. I really couldn't face letting him down though. I couldn't tell him that he wasn't going to get one for Christmas that year. Every time I considered it, I could just picture his eyes filled with hope and excitement turn to eyes filled with tears. We had had such a tough year, and he missed his father so much that I really wanted to do something nice for him, but I knew deep down that I couldn't afford to. I ended up putting off telling him that he wasn't getting his Switch until Christmas Day, partly because I was trying to pick up as many shifts as I could in the slim hope that I might just have enough extra money, but also partly because I didn't have the heart to spoil the magic of the holidays for him. I planned on explaining it to him when I woke him up. I planned on apologizing to him, So when I woke up Christmas morning, I rushed straight into my son's bedroom to let him know the bad news. He was awake, so I immediately tried to apologize, but just as I opened my mouth to speak, my son spoke first. Mom, look, I got a present from Santa Claus. He then held up the games console. It was the Nintendo Switch that he asked for. I stood there completely aghast and utterly confused. I was unable to speak for a while. I just allowed my mouth to hang open in shock. How the hell did he have that? My son then asked, Mom, are you alright? And that brought me back to my senses. I didn't know what to say, so for the time being I said, Oh, well, that's so great. And then I went downstairs to get breakfast started. And all the while I was frantically thinking about how the hell any of this could be possible. It's only us who live in the house. I didn't buy it, and my son doesn't have a ton of pocket money saved up or anything like that. The Nintendo Switch isn't exactly cheap either, so I knew for a fact that there was no way he had the money for that. I mean, what second grader would? So with that possibility eliminated, I had to think of another. Was my son shoplifting? That didn't seem that plausible either. I don't think he would have been capable of getting that thing out of the store without at least one member of staff noticing or an alarm going off. Plus, there was one other thing to consider. There was some wrapping paper at the foot of his bed. I noticed it when I turned to leave. Did someone break in? I went around the house and checked all the doors and windows, and they were all locked and shut. I didn't know how that present got in the house. After breakfast, I got ready for work, and when I was about to leave for my part-time job, I noticed something jutting out of the mailbox. There was a Christmas card from an unknown sender, and all that it said was, Merry Christmas, son, from the real Santa Claus. I don't know how it happened. I don't know who did it, but I had tears brimming in my eyes as I ran back in to hug my little boy. It was like someone was watching over us. I don't know who I should thank for that Christmas miracle, but to whoever it was, know that I am eternally grateful. Hi, Jay here, with a little something in my eye. There were a couple of comments beneath this user's post that I felt might be worth sharing. Number 1, are you sure your son doesn't have a stalker? It's a scary world out there. Number 2, you'll receive a bill for that later. Number 3, I wonder if it was something set up by your husband before he passed. I would like to think that's the case. Number 4, this is what Christmas is all about. It was Santa Claus delivering presents to those who need it the most. Well, everyone, I hope that might be a nice little note to end on, and I hope that you never lose your Christmas spirit either. I just want to say how much I appreciate you all. I am so grateful for every one of you, even if you don't comment regularly and you just like to watch the videos. Thank you. It's been so much fun translating these stories and reading them for you. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.